somebody else who didn't think it was so great? One of the people that works on Diablo 4. Crazy, huh?
I wasn't going to make this video, but am now for 2 reasons. The first is this tweet right here from the Diablo 4 General Manager, Rod Ferguson, which we'll analyze and attempt to explain in a moment. The second is Moana Exiles. TalkativeTri here talking about an absolutely stunning series of events that occurred on the biggest day for Path of Exile ever.
Yeah, I think it's probably the biggest thing. You're right about that.
I needed to showcase this to everyone, and I need you to understand. This is not a video trashing Diablo 4, its players, or its developers. It is merely examining a pivotal piece and moment of ARPG history and immortalizing it here on YouTube.
Yep.
November 21st, 2024 shall go down in the annals of gaming legend, and it's not because D4 is bad, it's because the way Blizzard maneuvers their non-existent relationship with their closest competition, Grinding Gear Games and Path of Exile 2. So please, no need to spam D4 bad in the comments. Let's break everything down. November 21st, 2024 was the day Grinding Gear Games unveiled what Path of Exile 2 would look like in early access.
Yeah, this shit was insane. I'm going to be honest. This was crazy. I feel like... I don't even know what to say. I was just in shock.
Endgame systems like Atlas and endgame-only pinnacle bosses like Zesht. They explored each of the 12 Ascendancy classes available upon early access launch.
Available upon early access launch. Very important component there. Half of the classes, meaning half of the Ascendancies also, are not available. This is only half of the game.
Which allows you to summon a demon dog and transform into Lilith. They also addressed something spicy in the most kind and articulate way possible. We'll revisit that in a bit.
What's that?
First, we need to note what else happened on November 21st at the exact same time as GGG Live, Diablo 4's mid-season rundown stream on its second season. Of note,
just det där var fel.
How'd that stream do? How'd it do? Oh. Ooh, not so good, huh? It's the worst one. Yeah, that's the worst one. Wow. And the PoE stream? This is the best one. Huh. That's crazy, huh? Wow. Bigger number, better game? Duh!
No.
Diablo 4 is getting the Armory in Season 7, allowing you to store builds in-game. That's pretty rad. Aside from that, there were no other large announcements, and there wasn't really supposed to be. But they chose to schedule their reveal stream to match up with the big Path of Exile 2 reveal,
just this speed.
Here were the results, by the numbers. On November 21st, Path of Exile 2 on Twitch popped off. The category peaked at 475,351 viewers.
I would not use this variable as a good metric because a lot of people were paid to watch the live stream. I cannot fucking believe that because I wasn't. But to be honest, I would have done it for free, and I did. So realistically, it was probably a good decision by them financially. Oh, we know Baldy's going to watch it. We don't need to pay him. I get it. That being said, you weren't even streaming? Yeah, because I didn't know it was going to happen. And anyway, they're smart, yes, right? But I think that it's very fair to look at the actual live stream of the main event, right? Because like that's the actual community for PoE itself.
111 total channels streaming the reveal. This is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Even my live stream was crazy on Twitch. These numbers are amazing for me without raids.
That's amazing,
490 max viewers, 397 average on a 5.4 hour live stream with over 150 Twitch subs.
No, it's the fucking right here. This is the big one. 362 followers is incredible for a channel of his size. That's awesome for him.
362 follows. On YouTube, it was even wilder. I had a peak of 1,583 people watching live on YouTube, which is just insane.
That's a lot.
Other larger creators had even more massive volume.
Yeah, I saw Quinn had like 30K.
Whose stream went bananas on Twitch.
Damn!
What the fuck?
382 max viewers.
Insane, yeah, man.
8,517 unique viewers. Now, let's look at Diablo 4 on Twitch to compare. Again, by the numbers. On that day, their peak viewership was 23,217. That's pretty good for a mid-season stream and a preview of Season 7.
Yeah,
However,
sure.
what I think is more interesting is the larger view, as I think this feeds into the tweet we'll discuss in about 30 seconds. Diablo 4 viewership peaked on May 31st, 2023, with 941,488 viewers on Twitch. Almost immediately, it trails off and has never recovered at all, in the slightest. D4 is Blizzard's other big live service, content-rich game alongside WoW, which also peaked years ago in...
No, what about Overwatch 2? They're using Overwatch. That's a huge... What about Warcraft Rumble? Hey, well, you've got Diablo Immortal. Guys.
2019 in viewership,
Hearthstone.
but remains steadier than Diablo 4. Funnily enough, if you compare Path of Exile to Path of Exile 2 on Twitch...
This is the big one right here. This is these numbers, these are good numbers, okay? What we saw earlier, those are bad numbers. These are good. This is a good graph. And the way that you can tell that it's good is because it goes up. So if a graph is going up, it's good. If the graph is going down, it's bad. It's pretty simple. And so if you look at this graph, you can see that it's going up. And this is a happy graph. That's right. And so anyway, PoE has shown consistent year-over-year growth, and I think the reason that they've done that is they've continued making the game for their player base, and I think that they probably have like a pretty low amount of people that like quit the game and stop playing it, right? Compared to like something like Diablo. Like the people that are like invested in PoE, I think they stay invested.
Je suis carrément Diablo, eux, après une semaine, ils drop à zéro. Ça veut dire, après une semaine, ils drop, mais il y a beaucoup de monde qui reste. Ça drop moins rapidement que Diablo. Diablo, c'est carrément, après une semaine, le monde sont écœurés, ils s'en aillent. Ça veut dire, ils s'en aillent pas tout de suite, le monde. Moi, je m'en vais tout de suite parce que j'ai d'autres jeux à jouer. Ça veut dire que moi, je finis de jouer à un jeu, peut-être dire, je vais jouer à autre chose parce que j'ai d'autres jeux à jouer. Là. J'ai d'autres jeux à jouer aussi. Il faut que je concède que je peux pas tout à jouer juste à ça.
Not happen as it does to Diablo 4 and World of Warcraft. Path of Exile's viewership remains very steady every single time they release a new expansion or update. It's phenomenal. So, obviously, Diablo 4 is flailing. Blizzard is somehow left stunned about Path of Exile 2's popularity. And here is our only other exhibit of this truth. The tweet by the senior vice president and general manager of all things Diablo at Blizzard. Feels like the genre of ARPG, in quotations, is starting to mean a lot of different things. Much like, in quotations, Souls-like, and, in quotations, roguelike. I wonder if we could normalize, in quotations, Diablo-like for ARPGs that follow the Diablo formula.
I think that it would be really funny if people started using PoE-like instead of Diablo-like. I think it would be really funny.
Ça commence, man, en plus.
Yeah. Oh god, that would be fucking hilarious, wouldn't it? Make it happen. Yeah, I don't know.
Il y a du monde qui commence à dire PoE-like ou Exile-like. Et ou Exile-like et PoE-like. Il y a du monde qui commence à utiliser cette affaire-là. À cause de ce comment-là, du leader de Diablo 4 qui est stupide. Colon. C'est ça que je dis, là, c'est colon vraiment, là, parce que ça n'a juste pas d'allure. Ce qu'il dit, là, c'est comme il est en train de dire toutes les Diablo-like sont meilleurs que nous, on devrait comme changer la définition de Diablo-like. C'est ça que j'ai compris. Dude, fais juste un meilleur jeu, puis t'auras pas besoin de pleurer. Là.
Oh, you know what? Exile-like sounds better. I don't. Yeah, PoE like doesn't. Souls like sounds good, right? Roguelite sounds good. Yeah, we gotta have like a better term. Diablo-like doesn't sound good either, you know?
Wow.
Path-like?
That's
No,
fire.
that's too weird.
You don't need to go check yourself. It's real. It's verified.
I saw
It's a certified fresh and hot take from the leader of Diablo and Diablo 4. Breathe that in. I'm not too sure how to honestly communicate how wild this is. My perception is that Rod either lives in a bubble or was aching for some fire to fly his way to get some engagement. You'd imagine after your biggest...
I think Rod saying this stuff is so funny. I do. I think it's fucking hilarious. Clearly a bubble. Yeah, and 100% echo chamber bubble. No, I actually think that Diablo 4 is massively successful. And I've actually heard from people internally. I can't really share a lot of...
Ben oui, le jeu, il est c'est fort, oui. C'est ce calife, c'est comme... Certaines personnes veulent avoir plus de depth, plus de bulles, plus de buts. Diablo 4 n'a pas ça. Ça veut dire que certaines personnes ne vont pas juste jouer à ça. C'est pour ça que ça fait comme... Après une semaine de Diablo, ça meurt.
This because it was told to me in confidence that Diablo 4 is actually quite popular on a number of websites. A lot of people really like Diablo 4, and I think it does a great job as being an entry into the ARPG genre. It does. No, I'm being serious. But, I mean, that doesn't mean that, like, it can't be better. I wish I had confidence in like PoE as like a Souls-like game. It certainly wasn't a flop. Yeah, I think they've made Diablo a lot better. I also have to say, like, you know, I was thinking about this, like, watching the gameplay for PoE 2. And you know what it really reminded me a lot of? Is that it reminded me of, like, PoE 1 in, like, 2013.
Oh, boy.
Where, like, everything was a lot slower before you had, like, a lot of the power creep. Like this. Like, like, this is, like, doing, like, a level 65 map or something like that back in the day.
Yeah.
Petition showcases something incredible. Concepts made reality that WoW haters, lovers, and people not even interested in Path of Exile 2, that you take a step back and say, huh, I bet we could learn from that.
Yeah, and I bet, here's really the truth. I bet internally, a lot of the guys that are working on Diablo 4 are like, oh, fuck, we need to do this in our... See, I told you they'd like it. Wait, look at the chat. See, this is my idea. I said this would be good. Why didn't we do this? We could have done this at the at launch. Yeah, they're probably mad. It's the same thing as Pow World with Nintendo. Nintendo's mad about this. Yeah, of course they're mad. But I guarantee you, the guys that are working at Nintendo were probably playing Pow World. Bro, I told you we should have had this. Why didn't you? Why can't we get the money to do this? Yeah, 7 levels of bureaucracy. I bet so. Yeah, because a lot of these guys, I bet they're PoE players. I bet they love PoE. They're probably going to play the PoE 2, the beta, when it comes out.
Yeah.
I think that Blizzard is, if anything, I think it's just in a chokehold of bureaucracy. And I feel like so many companies are like that now.
Instead, Rod decided to retreat into this tweet. He stuck his head in the sand like an ostrich and started to scream. Let me just read it one more time. Feels like the genre of ARPG is starting to mean a lot of different things. Much like Souls-like and roguelike, I wonder if we could normalize Diablo-like for ARPGs that follow the Diablo formula. The crazy thing is, the dude is right. The genre does mean many different things, and Diablo's biggest competitors are doing something incredible and bold. Yeah. But instead of giving them a kind bow or not saying anything, Rod went out and seriously pitched other games be implicitly named after the series he currently oversees, and if they stray too far, then they cannot be compared to his precious Diablo.
Ça c'est collant.
This is hilarious, and what so many people have said for years in a way about Diablo 4.
I feel like people look at what is an ARPG? Isometric game where you loot items and you can kill things.
C'est juste ça.
That, like, if you want to, like, what do people think, like, ARPGs are? That's basically what it is. It's a quick game, yeah.
Exile.
C'est exactement ça. Quand je dis Diablo-like, c'est ça, là.
Thinly veiled manner, and it's the only thing he'll ever say about Path of Exile and grinding gear games. Essentially, he's trying to say Path of Exile 2 isn't a Diablo-like anymore, so it cannot
C'est
be compared
false.
to Diablo 4.
Wow, that's a pretty good advertisement. I think I might play it more than like, oh, it's not like Diablo 4? Oh, wow. Say no more.
People should stop.
Genre, carrément, moi, Diablo 4 maintenant, puis Diablo 3, c'est des arcade games. Pas mal, c'est ça que j'appelle arcade. Et Diablo 4, c'est plus un MMO light que j'appelle. C'est pas un MMO 100%, mais c'est un MMO light. Avec du sprinkle de RPG dedans. Comme, c'est pas un Diablo-like, Diablo 4. Diablo 3 était plus Diablo-like que Diablo 4. Mais il commençait à être arcade. Il était plus arcade. Ça veut dire. Comme, what the fuck? C'est fucking spécial, là. C'est quoi ce développeur-là? Il a dit vraiment, là.
Trying to match up the two, which is just absolutely massive cope. What's even crazier is the term Diablo-like has been around forever, since
Yep.
the days of Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. And it's how Grinding Gear Games described their own game. They said it was a spiritual successor to Diablo 2, way back in 2010 and onward. They recognized the genius there. They captured it.
It's very obvious that PoE, especially PoE 1, early PoE 1, was a lot of it was like copy pasted from Diablo. We all know this. But the game is good. If they have an intellectual property dispute, that's their problem. I don't care about this. I just want to play the game. And if somebody else can copy pasta all your stuff and do it better than you, I'll play that.
Uh-huh.
This is not my issue. It's not my fight.
And they built on it, and now they've created a darn good sequel to their first game,
speed.
putting all the care, love, and effort into it that they needed to.
Yeah.
Rod Ferguson
Il a
is
fucking lit le 35% c'est random lit. Comme, what the fuck, my man?
scared. He is threatened, so he's lashing out. I've dealt with this in creating content.
Whatever happened to Joe Shelley? Whatever happened to Sleepy Joe? Is he still around?
Mm-hmm.
He's
Je sais
gone?
pas c'est qui parle, là.
Yeah, whatever happened to him?
On YouTube and in my workplace, it's plain to see. Grinding Gear Games has made something tremendous with Path of Exile 2. It has Blizzard shivering, and the game isn't even out yet. You know what this reminds me of? All the game developers coming out and saying to not expect games in line with the quality of Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy, ouais. Ça, c'est vrai pour les RPG de base, carrément. C'est comme. C'est ça, faut pas penser à ça. C'est certains développeurs ne font pas des jeux parfaits et corrects, là. Mais. En même temps, c'est comme. Nos. Comme, plus d'intention, on veut quelque chose de meilleur aussi.
You guys can't expect us to make a good game. Meanwhile, Space Marine 2 is like such a narrow experience, but it's really good. We don't need Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep.
We just need what's in the game to be good.
Yep. It'll simple as that.
On release.
6 on IGS PC
VG3 was
Gamer.
an anomaly, a standard other devs shouldn't be held to. That was a hilarious line of logic, and Rod seems to be going down the same path and sniffing the same copium. Games acknowledged this issue in the ARPG genre, that the ARPG genre has problems with endgame content delivery and iterating on systems, and they decided to refocus their efforts on doing exactly that for their huge launch. Something that
exactly. Like, that's the main...
Carrément, pas de idée, eux, ils ont décidé, on va mettre endgame, on va laisser faire la story pour leur access pour comme. Parce que c'est ça le but. C'est ça qu'on veut. Les Diablo-like players habituellement. Mais Diablo 4, eux, ils ont scrappé le Diablo 3 in-game et ont relié ce jeu en bêta à 70$, 100$. C'est. Yeah.
Weakness that a lot of ARPGs have is like the end game for them is very like kind of weak. Like that's why I kind of stopped playing Last Epoch. I didn't really like the end game that much. I thought the campaign and the gameplay was great. I thought it was fun, but it just didn't really feel like I was. Didn't really feel like I was.
Là, c'est pas, faut que tu le laisses le temps.
They
Je veux
didn't do
dire.
what
That's just
Path of
me.
Exile 1, Diablo 4 hasn't done, and Last Epoch didn't do either. They recognized this and decided to act instead of just complaining.
Yep.
Immediately as he saw the genius Path of Exile 2 presentation, he knew what could potentially happen. If grinding your games succeed in their goal, crafting a game just as deep as Path of Exile 1 with
I
a far
actually
better
do.
onboarding
Just
system.
a second.
With
I actually do think that PoE 2 has the ability to cannibalize the Diablo audience in a way
Yep.
that PoE 1 can't do. Because PoE 2 is coming out now, and a lot of the systems in the game are going to be made more accessible to new players. PoE 1 is, to be honest with you, very inaccessible to new players.
Regarde, PO1, c'est pas assez expliqué. C'est légèrement ça. C'est PO1, faut que t'aies un PhD, c'est comme, faut que tu saches quoi tu fais. Parce que PO1, c'est comme, c'est pas expliqué, là. PO2 va être mieux pour ça. Ça veut dire ils ont appris leur erreur puis ils vont essayer de s'améliorer.
It is. You can do it. Of course, if you're a new player, you know, like all you have to do is watch, you know, like the 4-hour guide on how to start playing the video game, and then you'll understand it. That isn't cannibalizing. Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, that's a bad word for me to have used. Yeah, because it would be eating its own content. No, you're actually correct. It will actually like take market share away from Diablo 4.
Yep.
And the reason why is that also, if I look at the visuals with PoE 2 and with Diablo 4, I think PoE 2 is way better. I do. I think it's way better. I think it's way better in terms of design, and I think it's also way better in terms of fidelity. So, like, I mean, there it is, right? And so, like, PoE 1 doesn't have that. I mean, like, yeah, you've got, like, you know, the Searing Exarch boss fight that looks really cool, right? But it's nothing compared to this.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, visual fidelity, again. Better
Le
designs,
jeu, il a
everything. Yeah,
upgradé l'an
exactly.
2, là.
Click to move is a fence. Well, here's what's really funny about that. In PoE 2, you can use WASD.
Yep.
Problem solved. So yeah, great idea. You're totally right.
Je comprends,
So I
hein.
do think that PoE 2 will actually.
Carrément sur ça, je comprends. Il y a du monde qui aime pas click to move, c'est comprenable. Il y a du monde qui aime pas WSD, c'est comprenable. Si t'as les deux, c'est le meilleur des deux mondes. Il y a du monde qui aime pas les deux, il aime jouer avec une manette. Ça te veut dire là ça? C'est le meilleur des trois mondes.
Not cannibalize, will take market share away from Diablo 4 in a way that PoE 1 was not able to, because of its graphical fidelity, it looking like a next-gen game, and also the fact that it's much more accessible to new players, and that it's a new release, so people don't feel like they're getting in on the game behind.
Well, about that. Battlefield 2 a quasiment autant de content que Battlefield 1, mais il est juste mieux implanté. C'est ça, ça va être moins. Tu vas avoir encore un overflow d'informations qui va rentrer. Ça va, il explose, il brûle. Ça va arriver, mais.
Those things together, and you have a tremendous competitor to Diablo 4. And it's free. Huge fucking bonus.
Yeah.
Clear explanations of crafting, skills, the campaign, endgame, and everything else. Diablo 4 is cooked, and Rod, thereby, is also cooked. Path of Exile 2 is looking stellar, and he knows it. Coincidentally,
I don't think that Diablo 4 is cooked. I just think that.
Well,
I don't think it's going to reach the heights that Diablo 2 had.
Yeah.
Or even Diablo 3 on release.
Chatting with one of the people in charge.
Parce que Diablo 3, ils capitalisaient sur Diablo 2, mais ils ont chié un peu, ça s'est donné. Là, Diablo 4, vu Diablo 3, il était pour certaines personnes en maudit. C'est ça qui est arrivé, Diablo 4 encore plus.
Of Path of Exile 2 live on Twitch and YouTube on November 26th at 5 p.m.
That's in 2
Eastern
days.
Time, 11 o'clock p.m. CET.
Yeah.
If you'd like to tune in live, make sure to subscribe here on YouTube or follow me on Twitch. Additionally, like the video if you ended up liking it. It really helps and is completely free. I'll see you in the next video. Stay sane, my fellow exile.
Yeah.
C'est surprenant là, à regarder comme deux vidéos. Il y a une vidéo, c'est TalkativeTri qui parle, et après,